Good evening, you two. We got ourselves a beer. Coors Rocky Mountain Water, brewed into one delicious can of beer. Coors Light. Now, if you like the voice impressions, subscribe for more. I do a lot of voices. Brr. Oh, Kermit, that was really good. Hey, Miss Piggy. And speaking of Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy, let's talk about relationships, man. Because Terrence Pott made this video called Nagging the Other N Word Live from the Lair. You know when you accuse your wife of nagging too much or your girlfriend of nagging too much, and of course it issues another fight. The second you bring up anything, fellas, are you with me on this? It's an attack. Why are you being so sexist? All you men are the same. But the second she brings up something, you're just supposed to shut the fuck up. Yeah. Now, some women might see Terrence Pop as a sexist pig, but I'm like, you know what? Women are allowed to have their talk shows where they trash men for a half an hour, hour and a half, sitting there drinking morning mimosas with pink champagne, bitching about men. Yeah. Yeah. But we're gonna watch this here real quick.
One of the main reasons the dude will get married because he thinks I'm gonna lock that pussy in and I want to hit that shit every night. It'll be great. And that usually lasts like 2 years, and then it slowly tapers off. And then after 5 years, it's usually once a month, and then it's on your birthday, New Year's Eve, and then it goes down to one or the other. And then usually before she punches out, sex is going. Blowjobs. You want to stop a blowjob, you just let those lips touch wedding cake. Over. That'll never happen again after that.
Now, I like Terrence Pop. He's a funny motherfucker. But, well, if you want more of the nookie nookie from the missus, you gotta be spontaneous, mysterious, and romantic. Chicks dig that shit. You go to Bath and Body Works, you pick up a pink bath bomb. You go to a flower shop and you get fresh red rose petals. And you make your wife a nice hot romantic bath. The water's pink, it smells good, it's relaxing and hot to the touch, just right. And those rose petals on top, you throw in some essential oils, some CBD oil. She steps into that bath. Help her put on a clay mask and get the cucumbers over her eyes and massage her feet while she's in the bathtub. Guarantee you she's gonna feel pampered, and you don't do it because you want to get laid. Fuck that. You do it because if your wife ever bitches and says you don't do anything for me, you can be like, oh yeah, like the time I made that super awesome bath that you were totally bragging about to your female friends about for the next 4 days. And here's the best part of it. If you want like a romantic drink combination to go with it, you get some pink champagne, let the carbonation die down, mix it with some tequila rose, and put it in a glass with ice and sugar coated strawberry slices, and a little bit of ice cream chocolate rimmed around the glass. You stick it in the freezer so it, you know what I'm saying? It'll look pretty when it's done, you know what I'm saying? Women like it when you pay attention to detail like that. That's just what I'm saying, you know? Men were simple, we could care less. Like you show up in a jeans and a t-shirt, we're like, hey, cool, you know? Women, you overthink a lot of shit. You really do. You're freaking out because you have nothing to wear, but your closet's full of clothes. You're sitting there going, oh, geez. Worried about because your dress isn't going to match your nail polish. That's something you personally worry about. And I'm telling you, most men don't give a shit about that crap. You know, and this is the thing of it. The reason why it takes women longer to get ready, and I know it's the stereotype, but it's the truth. It's because women are held to a higher beauty standard, and it's bullshit. It's just like men are held to a tougher standard. You know what I'm saying? This is why you see men trying to prove who's tougher than who with each other, and with women who's tougher and who's prettier. Oh boy. No, but a lot of guys will marry a chick thinking they want to spend the rest of their life with that woman. It's not just necessarily walking down that pussy, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because there's gonna be a time if you stay together with that person long enough, you're gonna lose the sex. So then, griping at each other becomes y'all's kink. You know. I'm telling you right now, just because your dick don't work don't mean shit. You got fingers, you got a tongue. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you go to the roller coaster rides broken down don't mean the whole goddamn park's gonna be shut down, you dig. And couples who can learn to work past a dry spell will grow stronger together. So while I do suggest if you want a healthier relationship, less fighting, more sex, or whatever level of intimacy you're capable of, never go to bed angry with each other. You know, you turn cleaning the house into a couple's activity. You turn cooking into a couple's activity. You know? I mean, fuck, you want to fuck your woman more. I get it, fellas, but here's the thing of it. Like, clean up, put a suit on, you know? Yeah. A lot of women don't really like dick pics. There are some, and if they ask for it and it's consensual and they're of age, hey, cool. But you know what's gonna turn a woman on faster than a dick pic? I'll tell you what, it's a man in a suit. Yep, flashing his money. You can guarantee that. Taking videos next to his Rolls Royce fan, I'm like, oh, look at me.
All right, everybody, Terrence Pop here with another episode of Live from the Lair. All right, I'm going to take a step away from politics for a little while.
Politics. Don't even get me fucking started on politics. Good God. Both sides are full of so much hatred for each other. It's just fucking asinine. And 9 times out of 10, all you hear is Joe Biden trash talking Trump or Trump trash talking Joe Biden. It's like, how about a fucking debate where we talk about what we're going to do to change this fucking country and make it even more kick-ass than it already is?
Mainly because I'm getting really frustrated and upset about it. Need to take a break. That's number one.
Yeah, I feel that 100%, bro. Like, if politics is just flat out pissing you off, then ignore it. It's not like you're being forced to follow it, man.
And number two, chances are in the future, at least up through the elections, there's going to be a quite a few more videos in regards to what's going on in the world. Simply because in my opinion, I think it does my audience justice if they hear my viewpoint on what's going on from somebody with a higher level of tactical thinking, logic, and reason. And
Speaking of tactical, have you checked out Tactical Soap? Now with coupon code King Cobra, you can get 15% off your next order. And it's guaranteed to have you smelling irresistible to women. You know what I'm saying? Like, you buy some of that magical soap, and then one day you surprise your wife with it. She comes home from work, you're freshly showered from it. She goes to give you a hug and a kiss, and, ooh, that's something new. And it's like, hey, that smells good. Now, generally speaking, when I go to the liquor store or when I go to the bar and I walk by chicks wearing my Bond tactical soap, I get the same general reaction. That dude smells good. Chicks I have crushed on literally say I smell good. And I'm like, see, this is why I like wearing it. It's all natural. It's made in the good old US of A. And it's made in the great state of North Carolina. Could you imagine if Sam Elliott did a commercial for tactical soap? How badass that would be, dude. Well, I'm Sam Elliott, and I want to smell sexy for the ladies. I'll grab me a bar of tactical soap. It's all natural, made in North Carolina, the good old US of A. And it's all natural for your skin, too. None of that crap you see in all these other soaps. I use some of that God of War pheromone beard oil in this famous mustache of mine. Soft as silk, just like my voice.
minus fear of what he fucking says. Because most of the time I say shit that everyone else is thinking, but they don't dare say it out loud.
Yeah, side note, you know why telemarketers don't fuck with me anymore? Because I fuck with them back, dude. They're trying to call me, selling me car insurance. I'll throw one of my random voices on and name an extremely old car just to fuck with them and see if they buy it. This one time, this lady called trying to sell me car insurance, gave me her name. So I pretended to be an 85-year-old man who drives a 1924 Model T. She was buying it for a second, and then I asked her, what was your name again? And she gave me her name. And then I said, oh, that's my daughter's name. You have a really pretty name. As soon as I said that in the old man voice, she hung up. It was epic. No, it's funny because, like, for example, you know, she'd be like, this is Carol with such and such insurance company, how you doing today? And then you'd hear me in the background, oh, I'm doing pretty good. Do you still drive? Yes, I do. How old are you, sir? 86. And what do you drive? 1924 Model T Coupe. Carol's your name? That's my daughter's name. You sound like you have a really pretty voice. Click. Guarantee you. I guarantee you. Telemarketers fucking hate that shit. But I'm like, dude, you're gonna waste my cell phone minutes to try to sell me some shit I don't want. I'm gonna have fun with this. Going back to the Terrence Pop video, yeah. There are a lot of things that people would say, you know, inside their head, but they wouldn't say it out loud because the truth hurts. People say they don't like being lied to, but if you tell them the truth, they're offended either way. So sometimes keeping your mouth shut's the best policy. Because who likes drama, am I right?
I'm way beyond that. I don't give a fuck. All right, now, this particular subject was sent to me by an individual who's married and having problems with.
Because, of course, in this modern day and age of technology with the internet, what do you do when you're having problems with your marriage and you just ask a complete stranger who says they have the know how? And there are times when I do appreciate being single, believe it or not. I've seen people around town who fight with their other half. And you've all seen the couples who do that shit. They fight very loudly and very verbally so everyone around them hears what they're fighting about. And it's just like, you know something? Why don't y'all take that shit behind closed doors? Because I quite frankly don't give a fuck about what you and your stupid other half are fighting about. And the fact that you have to drag everyone else into it shows that that relationship is fake. You know, don't you just fucking hate that? Like, when people try to drag other people into their shit like that. It's one thing if you're asking for advice from your friends, but to, like, drag your friends into it to pick sides, you know? And it's just like, This is the problem with married couples being friends, I tell you what, because, you know, Bob and Sally are fighting, so now Harriet and Betty are forced to pick sides, and of course Betty is going to side with her best gal pal, but yeah, you know, it's going to be an awkward conversation with the husbands in that situation, just because, you know, of course Harriet's going to want to take his buddy's side, but his wife just gives him that stern look like, you better take her side over his. He is so wrong in this argument. And now you're having a fight about someone else's fight, and you're like, why? That's too much bullshit for one relationship. No, dude. That's exactly how it goes, and you fucking know it. And then at that point, you stop and ask yourself, okay, it's bad enough when you and your other half are having a little tiff about something that happened in your relationship, but when you start fighting about shit that's in someone else's relationship, you're just going to ask yourself, wait, what the fuck are we doing? We're not even, okay, this is on them. They could go see a fucking marriage counselor for all I care. Like, what the fuck, why are we fighting about their shit? And then, of course, your wife brings up the point, well, even the reason you support him is because you men are all the same. It's like, okay, now she's going to pull the sexist card. Women love pulling the sexist card. Because, let's face it, it works. And the shitty fucked up thing of it is there are some men who are sexist, and it kind of makes us all look bad. Just like there are some women who are what you would call chicks with the C, chicks, uterus, nagging tits. That's an acronym. Yeah, I just like the C-bombs kind of make women in general look bad. See, that's the gender equality thing I'm talking about, is both genders go through some crap. And we already covered that in a previous video response, so we're not going to go into
that. His wife and all of the incessant nagging that she does to him. And he wanted me to basically speak in regards to my thoughts on nagging.
Now, a lot of women might find Terrence Popp to be sexist or pig or chauvinistic. Like, he quite frankly doesn't care. And I don't care either, because here's why. How many talk shows have you seen where women are sitting there just bad-mouthing men for like an hour and a half? Drinking morning mimosas with pink champagne. And the first thing they say, men, am I right, ladies? And every woman in the audience just loses their shit. Like, whoa. So honestly, I think that's healthy for both genders to have a place to just be like, oh, you can go to your guy friends and bitch about your woman, and she can go to her female friends and bitch about you, and then it gets down to your system. You're not holding it in against each other. As I've said before, YouTube, if you want a happier relationship, more sex, better communication, less fighting, never go to bed angry with one another. You do those four things, if you got the money and the stability, the rest will just fall into place. Women rely on subtle hints to, when they want something, they don't just tell you directly. It's a quote from Bill Burr, funny ass comedian. You could be sitting there watching Netflix with your woman, and she could look at you and say, "It's kind of cold in here." And you look at her and say, yeah, it is. And now she's scowling because she wants you to just magically be able to read her fucking mind. Okay, that's her little cue of her saying she wants you to ask. And you know the question you're going to ask. What would you like me to do? I could make us a pot of coffee. I could grab a blanket, turn up the heat, cuddle up closer. And she's going to think to herself, boy, howdy, her man's attentive and she likes that. Okay, you can't expect us to be mind readers, but when men learn to recognize the subtle hints that women give, ladies, let's face it, men, we're simple. Okay, you tell us you move the couch over here, we're gonna fucking move the couch over here. Okay, and I'm not trying to pick on my own gender, but I'm right.
If you look up to my right, your left on the board, nigger. It is the other N word, as in married women or women in relationships tend to wind up naggers.
Naggers, spell N-A-G-G-er. Sounds oddly close to another word that I'm not going to say. Although I could say that word with a W because I'm white. Ha ha! But nagging and complaining. See, here's the thing of it. Men will look at the nagging as, oh, she's just bitching and moaning. But maybe she's trying to help you so that the relationship goes more smoothly, but it'll have its downfalls and it won't last long. According to what Mr. Terrence Popp has discovered in his many years of living on this planet. And the first couple of things he says actually make sense, but then towards the middle of it, it's like, well, there's other ways. I agree, but also disagree. And then, okay, we'll just get into the video.
Yeah, that's it. That's about the only time I ever used the N-word that's, even close to the real bad one.
In case you haven't noticed, there's a culture war going on, and the spoils are the very minds of people we are trying to save. The war on the West is no longer about men or women. It's about the ideological subversion of Western minds by foreign actors cloaked in a public relations friendly outfit called feminism. Join the fight against the destabilization of our very civilization by reading Surviving Fourth Wave Feminism. Learn some inconvenient truths by clicking on the link in the description, because every time you do, a pansexual non-binary socialist cries.
All right, now we're going to start off here with some of the rules of nagging. All right, gentlemen, pay attention.
Alright, nagging when your wife or girlfriend bitches, moans, groans. Well, the other thing she does when you're not making enough money or the car you have is not nice enough. And this is part of women being really catty towards each other. You go into the grocery store, and of course, your wife runs into Cheryl, her bestie, that she secretly fucking hates. And you already know what's gonna fucking happen. Your wife's gonna stand there and talk and talk and talk to Cheryl about nothing for 45 minutes straight while you and her husband just sit there and don't say shit because you barely know the guy. He's richer than you are. He makes more money. So, of course, you feel uncomfortable, like this guy's sizing you up or judging you, but you don't say shit. And as soon as they get done talking and pulling their fake, oh, kiss, kiss bullshit, you know, how some chicks do, you know the fucking car ride home is going to be extremely fun. Because now your wife goes from, oh, I'll talk to you later, Cheryl, sounds good, to, oh my god, I fucking hate her. She thinks she's all that just because she went to the salon and got her hair dyed. And who the fuck does she think she is, flashing that diamond that her husband bought her? Fuck her, she's a cheap gold digger. And fuck that ugly ass Porsche she drives too. And then she's gonna look at you and go, why can't we have nice things? And you, of course, just want to slam your head into the steering wheel repeatedly. Ladies, if he doesn't have the most money, if he shows that he cares and he's providing, appreciate that, because there are some women in your position right now that would love to have a boyfriend like yours. So just remember, ladies, it could be worse. But if the guy's a total piece of shit and doesn't do anything but cause you headache and he's a douchebag in some way, shape, or form, get him the fuck out of your life. You'll be a lot happier. I covered that in previous videos. If you're stuck in an endless cycle of dating one person after another, it can be depressing, but taking time to be single can be refreshing and inviting. You can discover things about yourself, you know. Yeah. And honestly, when you see some guy get in the business because his woman's pissed off at him and it's all publicly happening, you're just like, ha ha, hashtag single life. Or when you see a couple pushing a baby stroller and the kid's just crying their eyes out. And both parents look tired, like they haven't had sleep in days. It just makes me laugh. I'm like, you chose that life, man. Congratulations. Hashtag single life. I can have a couple beers, pass out, and wake up when I need to, or when I want to, etc., etc. And I don't have to worry about that. You ever notice we spend our whole lives whining from the time we're born to when we're adults? Okay, Cobra, that's really too far.
You married women in the audience, you naggers, you pay attention as well, because perhaps...
And, you know, to be fair, ladies, not every married woman nags. They might drop subtle hints. But really, sometimes men will stir the pot just to be an ornery shit because it keeps the relationship fresh. It's all in good fun. It's just the way couples do. Like, he'll say something obnoxious and she'll be like, oh my lord, that's just terrible. You know, she'll be sitting there shaking her head and they'll be like, what? It's just how men do sometimes in a relationship. You know, that one song, I told you dirty jokes until you smiled. Yeah.
Perhaps you might learn something and change your attitudes, because usually once you start doing this, it doesn't end well for both parties. All right, number one. In a relationship shit, nagging is going to happen to a certain degree. All right, we're going to talk about, how to test if it's, something valid or not. and what you should do about it on the other boards. All right. Number 2, nagging and drama are linked. I've noticed this in a lot of my friends who are in relationships. When the drama starts to go down, the nagging seems to go up. Okay, because when the nagging goes up, drama goes up with it. And then the nagging comes down. It is bizarre. And here's an instance right here.
Because nobody likes getting bitched at for whatever fucking reason, so the drama's gonna go up with it. But because nobody likes drama either, the nagging goes down. That's just simple economics of human psyche, emotion, bull fucking shit, fuck.
Say you don't bring home enough money and things are real tight. She will start to nag about money and how it's a problem. And you will find a second job or work overtime to raise that money level up to bring the nagging down. And that will go on for a certain amount of time. And you think everything's good. And then she starts to nag about you're never at home. So then you cut back on the overtime. And then you go back to the problem of money. Do you see what's going on here?
Yeah, that can happen in a relationship if money's tight, so you pick up more hours, but then you're not home all the time, so now she's lonely and missing you. So you cut back on the hours to spend more time with her, and now you're not making the money. At that point, you have to get a job at home or something for that to work.
They are linked. And gentlemen, when you realize this, it's going to change your goddamn perspective on how this whole thing works. All right, number 3. She will use the nagging as an excuse for bad behavior. All right, now, if she's nagging you and say she's nagging you about the money thing, and you do not go back to work overtime, get a second job, what have you, well, you're a bad provider. Next thing you know, she's monkey branching to the next penis. Bad behavior. Or we'll go back to you get the second job and you work your ass off. And this happens all the time. Guys who are married in the Army. You're never home. I needed somebody right to another penis. You see, it's amazing. Bad behavior. Nagging, drama, bad behavior. It's a vicious circle. It's never ending. You need to learn that right now. Number 4. When you give in and accept the nagging, you are setting the timer on your divorce/betrayal or bad event that's coming down. And the reason that's happening.
Yeah, but if you give in to it, the nagging stops. And it's not necessarily. I think if couples are willing to work together, she drops the subtle hints, he's willing to work with her and make it happen. Even though half of today's marriages from these younger folks are literally ending in divorces, about 50% of them. And of course, they're being caused by women. Google it. And when the stats are telling you that, it's just but then there's all this pressure for women to get married in the first place. And when that shit happens and they realize they married the wrong person, it's just well. Good.
Is you are dying by 1,000 cuts. All right, she got with you because you were strong and you protected her, you provided, you were that, in her mind, you were the alpha guy. And slowly, through 1,000 concessions,
you want to keep her surprised as the relationship blossoms. You'll be surprised.
You've moved yourself back from the alpha position to the beta position. And then she monkey branches to another P nice. Especially in today's day and age where they get cash and prizes for divorcing for no reason at all. All right, number 5. Happy wife, happy life. How many times have we heard that, gentlemen? I'm going to be honest here. Back in the day when I was blue pill thinking, I believed that one like it was the 11th commandment. What an idiot I was. Because in reality, you cannot make anyone happy. They have to do that for themselves.
What?
And if somebody is not happy, it is not your fault unless you are beating them and doing, grievous bodily harm. It's not your fault, man. All right, so never ever do you hear, oh yeah, the dude's happy too. It's like the man has to sacrifice everything for the bitch's happiness. Chris Rock said it best in his one stand-up routine where he looks.
Yeah, well, that goes. Well, that is true in the sense, you can't make anyone else happy but yourself. But at the same time, you would think that your other half, seeing you make an effort, would make them happy.
In the mirror and he says, let's go out there and make that bitch happy. And he says, fuck your hopes, fuck your dreams. Now let's put it all together and get out there and make that bitch happy. Man, that is absolutely correct in regards to number 5. Number 6. There will always be a next thing. Once she starts nagging you and you start, trying to stop the nagging and helping her out or whatever it is, if she's caught in that mindset of keeping up with the Joneses or Jamal, take your pick, there'll always be the next thing. Right? For instance, she's got a car, you got a car, you live in a 3-bedroom house, it's well taken care of and so forth. One of her girlfriends gets a Cadillac. Now all of a sudden, she wants a Cadillac. So you get a second job, work overtime to pay for said Cadillac. And once you get it, you think everything's cool. You go back down to doing your routine. Then another one of our friends buys a bigger house. And then it's on you to come up with the money to buy a bigger. You see where this is going? That never ends in a woman's mindset at all. All right. Even if it goes all the way down to decorating, collecting baskets, knick-knack, paddywhacks, and the dude of the house doesn't give a fuck. Okay, it's insane. All right, there will always be the next thing to bitch about. All right, now we're going to go over the next board. I didn't have enough space to put it all in, each one on its own dedicated board, so the next one is directly behind me. I'm going to step off to the side. All right, here we go. What to do when you have to deal with the nagging. Now, number 1, in the beginning, be ready at any time to divorce, break up, cut it off, what have you. And make sure she knows that. Now, I know a couple guys who've been married for over 15 years, and when it started off, he had pre-made divorce paperwork made up. He keeps it in a folder on the mantle of his fireplace. So whenever the significant other comes into the house, she takes off her boots, hangs up her coats, turns around, and has to look at the envelope every single day. Every single day. All right? And this particular individual has taken his steps just in case. He's got a lot of stuff in storage, a lot of money set aside to jettison and come out the other end okay. And, knock on wood, hopefully he stays married. He wants to remain married, but it's going to be on his terms. And I really admire him for that. And, that's one way to deal with it. Number 2. Play the game of yes and no. All right, the game of yes and no is basically a way to test if the reason you're being bitched at is valid. Start off with, we live in a nice house, yes or no? Food in the refrigerator, we eat 3 meals a day, yes or no? Electricity's on, yes or no? You have a phone, yes or no? The house is well kept, yes or no? Anything break or so forth that needs fixing or attention from me, does it ever be neglected, yes or no? If any of those things in the yes or no game are no, then it might be a valid reason to address that. All right. If they're all yes, you are caught in the endless cycle of keeping up with the Joneses, and not really a valid reason to be bitched at. All right. Just saying. All right. Number 3. All right. Now, you hear all these people like 2 wrongs don't make it right. Well, if you're getting nagged endlessly over bullshit, nag her back. Ha ha. And she's saying, hey, we could really use an extra $20,000 a year so we can get along here in this house without, any of the so-called shortages. Even though you answered yes to everything on the yes and no question game, you look at her and say, well, you know what? You want an extra $20,000 out of me. Well, perhaps you got to drop 30 pounds and we'll do a little more bedroom ballet. And we just might make that happen. Of course, she'll get very upset and,
Or you could just tell her, hey, if you want an extra $20,000 to this household, you go out and get a job. It seems kind of unfair that, if your wife or girlfriend refuses to work or doesn't have a job, and you're, of course, being the stereotypical man providing everything, not trying to be sexist, but there are women out there who work all day and come home to a lazy man. So it happens on both sides. But if the nagging about having extra money starts coming into play, instead of telling them to lose weight, I'd be like, why don't you go out and get a job? That's what I tell them, YouTube. You know what I'm saying? And nope to all this bullshit. Like, relationships don't have to be this complicating. They really don't. More sex, less fighting, better communication. You know what I'm saying? Keeping things fun and surprising her after all these years. It keeps her interested. And the stereotype that, as soon as you get married, well, the stereotypes are just that, stereotypes, my dude. All of that depends on, and like I said, whatever level of intimacy you're capable of. There are some couples who still support each other even though they can't,
that you said something about her baby weight. And normally, they do this because they know they're fat and they don't want the man to say anything about it. In my opinion, fuck that. Especially if she had kids and she, the last one was 4 or 5 years ago. You say, hey, last kid was five fucking years ago. It's no longer baby weight. That's just Lazy fat ass weight, sorry. And it is what it is. Now, Bill Burr said it best. You ate your way in, you can walk your way out. Now, number 4, I don't recommend this because if you do this, you're going to basically, in her mind, start going towards the beta mindset, and it's not good. And that is ignore it. All right? Ignoring the fucking nagging will not make it go away, and it only compounds your problem. Alpha thinkers don't ignore shit. They recognize problems, they meet them head on, face to face, and win, lose, place or show, they try to basically impose their will upon the problem. That's all anyone can ever do. All right, number 5. Tell her to shut the fuck up. In today's day and age, with how women, are all raised by Disney and their pink princesses, and they never lose and they're always right. Telling them to shut the fuck up usually doesn't work. Now, I grew up in the 70s, and a couple of my young friends' fathers worked very hard and would come home to bitching, moaning, and complaining, and they would flat out just say, shut the fuck up. I was in the room, I heard the whole thing. For instance, one of my buddy's fathers used to sell cars, and he made a very good living doing it. But he worked 6 days a week, usually walked out of the house between 6 and 7 a.m., and got back into the house about 6 or 7 p.m., 6 days a week. On the one day he was off, which was Sunday, he usually went in for half a day anyway for paperwork and catch-up. And, when you have a schedule like that, things get really interesting, especially when you're only, you get 5 to 10 days vacation every other year. And he would come home and get the fucking weighing it in, and he would look at her and say, listen, had a long day, it's been a hard week, shut the fuck up. And it worked for him. I don't know if his parents were still married, he moved away when I was...
Well, to be fair, and going back to the whole couple situation, if you have one member of the couple that works and the other member doesn't, and the other member stays home to guard the house and tend to the house needs, etc., and they've both been working all day. One's working to keep the house up, the other one's working to keep food on the table. Neither one wants to hear nagging, bitching, complaining, or rude ass fucking, remarks, etc. But to be fair, if one person is busting their ass selling cars all day, which can be a tough gig to get into. Unless, of course, you find those people that are like, oh, as soon as the new one comes out, they have to trade in their old one. And buying a car is a tedious process. The paperwork takes forever. And by the time you're done, you secretly think to yourself, they're going to have to go through and file all that. They have to do that for every car they sell. Holy shit. But if you're busting your ass at a job all day and then you come home and listen to your other half complain about their day, you're just going to be like, I don't want to hear it. If you've had a bad day. But here's how you should be doing it. And this is going to blow your mind because I guarantee you never heard anyone say it like this. Instead of saying, shut the fuck up, I don't want to hear it, what you could say is, well, tell me about your day and I'll tell you about mine. And you have a little talk session. Of course, that does happen, but, yeah. the general stereotype, you know, that, oh, she's gonna nag you to death, and you're gonna be sitting there going, shut up, bitch. I can't hear the game over the. No.
Was in, I think, 6th grade. But it is what it is. All right. So this is what to do about bitching, nagging, call it whatever you want. Now we're going to talk into how it's done. Now the most common way it's done is they just directly start bitching about you, about the problem to you. Okay, I prefer that. You know, I'm not a fan of the other sneaky bullshit ways women approach this.
Sneaky bullshit ways, yes. Women are very capable of manipulating a man's psyche by using certain words. And this psycho third, fourth wave bullshit, they do it because they know it works. You mentioned Bill Barr. One of the things I've talked about is the thing that Bill Barr said. When women are in an argument and they're pissed off because they know they're wrong and they're losing the argument, they will bring up something that the man is insecure about just to piss him off. And when it does piss him off and he says something back to her to piss her off, now she's pissed off and now the argument's just escalated. Fun. And I'm over here like, hashtag single life. Jerking it to some hot chick on Chatterbait is a lot easier to deal with than the fighting and the bullshit and the nagging and yeah. Which that doesn't have to be the issue or the case, but that's just how it plays out. So how can you tell she's nagging, complaining, or making a point of observation? Number one, she's direct with it. She just flat out says it. And if you want better results, ladies, being direct and simple with men when it comes to your communication will make it much easier. And if even the man cannot pick up on your simplest of communication, then he's a fucking idiot or he doesn't pay attention. Because like I said, ladies, men, we're simple, okay? You communicate simply with us, we more than likely can oblige your request. You know, don't send us to the goddamn store to get some chocolate ice cream and then as soon as we come home you get pissed off because you wanted strawberry. And now it's our fault because we suck at communication and you're sitting there going, why didn't you text me that you wanted strawberry when I was at the store? And she says, well, the phone was dead, so it was charging. Oh, that's convenient. So, of course, you drive right back to the store, get her some strawberry ice cream, and, you know, later on that night, she mixes the chocolate with the strawberry and says, this is a tasty combo. And you're looking at her like, okay, then why the fuck did I get bitched at for buying the wrong one again? Seems like you're eating both of them at the same goddamn time. And just comment how it's a tasty combo. Yeah, I bet it is.
Because in reality, if the woman is with a rational person and she brings up a legitimate problem that has already, been through the yes or no question test, it is better if you just bring it up and say, hey, listen, this is fucked up. This needs to be fixed. Can you do something about it?
Exactly. Direct communication like that will fix a relationship. It may be harsh. It may be something that most people don't want to avoid. Or they do want to avoid, one of the two. And I'm telling you right now, direct and honest communication will make a relationship stronger. Honesty is a bitch, and so is love. Ha ha!
You get a lot more respect, ladies, if you approach it like that. Now, number 2 here.
Yeah, well, not necessarily respect entirely, but also they get better results. It's not just respect, you know. Because women are quick to get pissed off and heated when men use some sneaky tactic to gain advantage in a situation, using our gender and what our gender's been taught to get further in life in some way, shape, or form. But then when the woman takes the upper hand for a change, of course you're not going to get pissed off because, you know, people are vindictive by nature. And yes, men do that crap too, let's be honest.
It's the question game. All right, the nagging will be
The question game. Oh, yeah. Because let's just say that this chick has a boyfriend who's a complete slob and just leaves his dirty underwear on the floor, and come laundry day, sniffs it, shrugs, throws it in the hamper, you know. The question game. She obviously knows they're your underwear, but she's going to make a point to let you know that this is gross. She'll pick up the underwear with disgust on her face, going, is this your dirty underwear? And of course, the man, being the smartass, is going to be like, oh, I'd hope those are my underwear, otherwise I'd be a little bit concerned. So ladies, if your man's a gross slob like that and he refuses to pick up his shit like that, you can always outgross him a little bit. Every time you have a Mother Nature visit, you take your tampons, your stinky used tampons, dry them out, and just leave them on the floor. And then when he asks you to pick them up because that's gross, you can be like, oh, kind of like your underwear, right. You can literally look at him and go, you don't want to see his disgusting underwear. So that that's a more extreme way of proving a point. Just remember this, fellas. Your woman can be just as gross as you are, if not worse, if she wanted to. If you ever want to lose that beautiful image you have of your woman in your head, do some gross shit, and if she's in the fucking mood to outgross you, you're gonna look at her like, even I wouldn't go that far. What the fuck? I mean, eye for an eye, ladies. If your man's obnoxious and he likes to fart and then hold your head underneath the blankets, like, who does that immature crap? So you know what you do? Next time you fart, let out a smelly queef and a smelly fart at the same time. And be like, stick his head underneath the goddamn sheets and see how he likes it. Yeah, I guarantee you he'll be like, what the shit? You'll be like, well... First of all, whenever I hear about guys doing... Oh, sorry. Whenever I hear about guys doing that shit, I'm just like, the fuck? I don't have a girlfriend yet, but even I'm smart enough to go, okay, if you're cuddled up with your lady in bed, why would you do that? That's gross. Sitting there farting underneath the goddamn covers and then trying to get her to smell it. If anything, you let it go and then hope against all hope she doesn't just lift up the blankets to get more cuddly with you and then be like, oh, god damn it, you asshole. Like, sorry, I was hoping you wouldn't lift up the covers. At least then you're not doing it on purpose, like you're trying to be discreet about it, but you know what happens. Yeah.
hidden in questions.
Is this your underwear? Wow. Like, ladies, if you want him to pick up his goddamn underwear, then make him pick up his goddamn underwear. Don't just sit there and ask him dumb questions. Because if you ask him dumb questions, he might give you a dumb answer. You know, because we're good at that. I mean, me personally, when my clothes are done being worn and they need to be washed, I put them in the hamper. You know, I don't want people coming over to my apartment and going, you know what I'm saying, stepping on my clothes and shit. You know, that's just no. Plus, it looks nicer with, you know what I'm saying, with all your dirty clothes going in the hamper. And if you get into the habit of doing it when you're single, trust and believe, when you have a girlfriend, she's going to be like, oh. Especially if she's used to guys being slobs and pigs and what have you. She's going to see you like you're a breath of fresh air, like, well, this is refreshing. Which brings me to my next point, fellas. If you're going to lift the lid and take a piss, take an extra 2 seconds to close it. It's the gentleman thing to do. And it's like 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning, and you wake up to take a piss, you go to bed, and you're half asleep, so you forget to close the lid. Now your girlfriend walks into the bathroom and turns on the light at like 4 o'clock in the morning. She's blinded by the light in the bathroom, sits down to take a piss and dunks her cooch in toilet water. Now she's bitching at you for being an inconsiderate asshole. And you yell at her, well, why can't you look next time? And she's going to ask the question, too, I bet you. Gee, I wonder who left the lid up again. And you just ignore and go back to sleep because you're like, I'm not falling for that one.
You know, like, hey, did you contact a roofing company about the problem we're having with the shingles? The car we have, you know, it's got, 45,000 miles on it, and maybe we should upgrade to something a little more newer, and could you look into that? Okay. Yeah, they're always, it's like a weird question game. All right, now number 3, sarcasm.
Oh yeah, sarcasm. Something that both genders are perfectly capable of. Nagging in the form of sarcasm. Oh yeah, that's another one that pisses off each other. Going back to what I said earlier, obviously she knows you're the one that forgot to close the goddamn lid, but she's gonna be a sarcastic little turd about it. Yeah.
Now this one is particularly annoying. When there's a problem and then they sarcastically make comments about it. And it is especially bad when, those sarcastic comments attack your basically honor, dignity, and respect, especially when it's done in front of friends and family. Okay, I call that spite. When you get to that point, the relationship is over. You just don't know it yet.
We've all been there. You and the couple, you as the couple are bitching about each other's bullshit in front of other people. Or maybe you confide to someone about the problems in your relationship, and lo and behold, even when couples are over, other people are over hanging out with you, and you start bringing other people into it. That's yeah.
And I made a whole episode about this phenomena called the back burner blues. I did it in the first year. Go check it out because it's full of nuggets of wisdom for you gentlemen out there. Where basically, I tell all the men out there all of the common signs that the lady in your life is already mentally checked out, is shopping for a new dick, and she's just going through the motions. Hints! Hints. All right, now this one is
The subtle hints. Again, ladies, subtle hints don't work with men most of the time. Gotta be more direct with your communication.
particularly annoying. Like I said, I'm a logical, reasonable person. I deal with reality. I do not have ESP, and I don't like playing fucking crazy mind games of, 20 fucking questions.
No, and you're right. No man likes playing crazy fucking mind games. That shit's annoying as fuck. You're gonna bitch at us because men are horrible with communication, but you yourself are not making an effort to be more direct with your communication. It's frustrating. But that's because women and men communicate differently. Men are more simple and direct with their communication. Women will drop subtle hints. And it's just like,
And hints and so forth. And a lot of women get very upset, thus kicking up the drama, looking for excuses for bad behavior because you don't have ESP. Newsflash, ladies! You naggers out there. Yeah, men don't have ESP. No, we don't. And if you're not born with it, chances are, barring a near-death experience, you're probably not going to develop it. So just tell us what the problem is and stop the hinting game. I hate that. All right, pouting. All right, this goes right along with the silent treatment.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. When women know, okay, their argument doesn't work, they've tried using your fears and insecurities to win the argument. When sarcasm doesn't work, now let's pout. Right? Yeah. You already know that shit works half the time because, let's be faced, if you're a man who actually cares about his woman, you don't want to see her sad or unhappy. So you do everything in your power and at your fingertips to make her happy. And when it ends up not being good enough, because there's always going to be some problems, that's life. Life is never-ending chaos to some extent. It can be unpredictable, and you could go through a couple months of just one thing after another. We all know the feeling. Where you're literally just like, well, first this happened, now this happened, oh, fuck. You're sitting there going, can I catch a break? Now, when that kind of crap happens, it can test one's relationship, because when you're struggling with the same issues together, you start questioning a lot of things, like all these bad things are happening and I'm still with this person. You start questioning if you're supposed to be with him or not. All that shit.
Two. Those two are linked. If you're dealing with the pouting and the silent treatment bullshit, you're dealing with somebody with a very low emotional quotient. All right, babe.
Yeah, isn't that the greatest? When women say, why can't you men be more expressive with your emotions? But the second they give us the silent treatment and don't say a fucking word, the hypocrisy goes unchecked. Screen 5.
Basically, you're in a relationship with somebody with the emotional equivalent of like a 14, 15-year-old. You need to quash that shit in the beginning. Now, when you tell somebody to shut the fuck up, there's a big difference between that and the silent treatment. All right. Usually, when you're telling somebody to shut the fuck up, you don't want to hear more about the problem, but you want to carry on with business as usual.
Now, let's say the pouting and the faking like she's about to be upset hasn't worked, and at this point, she's now back to being pissed off again. She's literally executed all of her arsenal of female tactics to try to win the argument, and she's still wrong, and she knows she's wrong, and it's pissing her off. You're not stooping to her level, you stay calm. She plays off your insecurities, play off of hers. She starts pouting with you, you start pouting with her. And eventually, she's going to get sick of it and start calling you names and getting all pissed off and say, why can't you be more mature? And it's like, look who's talking. And then on top of it, she'll probably say, oh, that's a mature response. And then, you could be like, we will discuss this when you are less angry. And just walk away and let it sink in that you won the argument.
If they flip right over to the silent treatment, that's bullshit. All right, that is bitching and nagging flat out, even though they're being silent about it. Number 7, withholding sex, affection, what have you. All right, now this is a very big problem for people who've been married over, say, 5 years.
Oh yeah, the whole "you're grounded from sex, mister." Holy shit, is that dumb. And ladies, you're doing that to yourselves too. You might think, okay, if I ground the other half from sex, they'll do what I want. You're turning sex into a power struggle and a bargaining system, which completely takes the fun out of it. Now, with things like money, living situations, etc., those are a bargaining system. Those are most definitely a bargaining system, YouTube. However, making love to your sweetheart should not be a bargaining system. So what happens then, fellas, when she pulls that card? Well, let's see what he says first.
Very rarely does the sex level, either frequency or effort, go on beyond 5 years. One of the main reasons the dude will get married, because he thinks, I'm going to lock that pussy in and I want to hit that shit every night. It'll be great. And that usually lasts like 2 years, and then it slowly tapers off, and then after 5 years, it's usually...
Well, to be fair, if you've been married to someone for 5 years, and you have a healthy love life, you're going to have to find ways to keep it interesting. Otherwise, it'll lose its fizzle. And whether that be the love for your other half, or whatever kinky weird shit you and your other half are into, I don't want to know and I don't care. Or perhaps rocking some tactical soap, because all is fair in love and war, so you might as well gain the tactical advantage, fellas. With coupon code 15% off, you'll get that off your next order with the coupon code King Cobra, and I tell you what, chicks love the smell of it. It'll make you smell irresistible to women, and that's no bullshit.
once a month, and then it's on your birthday, New Year's Eve, and then it goes down to one or the other, and then usually before she punches out, sex is going. Blowjobs. You want to stop a blowjob, you just let those lips touch wedding cake. Over. That'll never happen again after that. Crying. If there's a problem, and she's crying about...
Here's the thing of it. There are two ways you can look at this. If your woman cuts you off from the sugar cookie jar, let me tell you something, fellas. Go out of your way to be spontaneous, romantic, and as sexy as you possibly can. At first, your woman's gonna be like, don't think just because you're kissing my ass that you're gonna get some. And you play it off just nonchalantly, like, what? I have no idea what you're talking about. And then when she finally gives in, just be like, no, I'm not in the mood. Good night, babe. Give her a kiss on the forehead and cuddle up next to her. Weeks of building her up. Now she's gonna be pissed off and going, well, fuck you then. I don't want to fuck you anyways. And you keep at it, eventually she'll break. One of you is gonna break, and eventually the tension from not having it for so long, plus the bickering and the bitching and the, you know what I'm saying? All the moaning and groaning will sound a lot different afterwards, if you catch my drift. But I'm just saying, like, if you're pulling the whole, oh, you're grounded from sex bullshit. If my girlfriend tries pulling that crap with me, I'm gonna laugh and be like, I've gone like 3 years without it, dude. Will be 3 years as of November, and I don't give a shit because I'm more interested in improving gender relations. Couples everywhere might watch my videos and be like, hey, you know what, this guy's got a fair point. And furthermore, fellas, why should she suck your dick if you're not willing to suck her pussy? Yeah.
About it, and you pass the yes or no question test, it's bitching. Alright? Flat out. And she's being a little crybaby about it. You don't need that aggravation in your life, trust me. Last but not least,
Oh yeah, the stereotype. Some women will use crying to get out of an argument. And we all know how that goes. You're pissed off because she's using all this manipulative bullshit to fucking win the argument or try to. And when that doesn't work, she pulls out the big guns. She starts crying. And now you feel bad because you're arguing with her even though she's being a complete bitch the whole time. And now she's making you feel bad about her shitty actions because women are good at that crap. So now here come the waterworks. Well, and the why are you being mean to me? And of course women are naturally emotional by nature, and because society lets them. Men can be just as emotional as women, but generally speaking, it's frowned upon. We get called sissy boys and told to toughen up and all that shit, so there you go. Of course, that just means that women also go through crap. If women start getting emotional, they get labeled, oh, you're just a typical female, ha. Oh, she's probably on her period, that's probably why she's so emotional. Someone give her some chocolate. So to be fair, fellas, you want to bitch because people give men shit for being emotional. Guess what? People give women shit for being emotional too. Even though it's also allowed on the side of women more than it is on the side of men. Go fucking figure. Ask me how that one works, I'll tell you what.
blame and shame game. Alright. A lot of my
And at number 9 on that list would be the blame and shame game. Blame something he did the other day. Women have the ability to hold grudges over the dumbest of shits. The chick they hate wore the same dress to prom. The year they went to college, she looked better in it, so now she's gonna hold a grudge about it. And the other chick thinks that the first chick copied her because she's a little slut, blah, blah, blah. And of course, now they're gonna, every time they see each other, it's always this I look better in it than you did, you cheap. You know what I'm saying? Guys, it's different. The worst that'll happen is a guy will throw a couple punches with another guy. We'll shake hands, get over it, grab a beer, we're done with it, we're laughing about it in like 4 hours. Women, on the other hand, will carry the grudge on for years. And you'll be sitting there asking yourself, honey, that was like 4 years ago. I mean, don't you think you could let it go? And secretly, you're like, I don't know why you're still bitching, because you wouldn't be able to fit in that prom dress anyway. Ha ha! Oh, that's mean. I shouldn't have said that. Funny thing about how they say that men are supposed to put everything on hold for the woman they love. Or blah, blah, blah. You know, I think it works out both ways, honestly. Women and men will put each other's dreams on hold. And quite often you see this too many times. High school sweethearts, they're dating in college, they're having a little fun Friday night, the homework's done, the condom breaks, they're like, yeah, the condom's broke, what's the worst that could happen? Your girlfriend wakes up puking the next day, you're thinking to yourself, it's just the liquor we had last night. But then about a week and a half later, your girlfriend misses her period. Now you're freaking the fuck out, going, oh shit, oh jeez. Then your girlfriend gets a test and finds out she's pregnant. Well, fuck a duck and screw a kangaroo. You gotta put you and your girlie's dreams on hold while you raise that little bastard of yours. And so for the next 18 years, you thought your girlfriend sucked money out of your pocket. Well... You thought your girlfriend was demanding. Holy shit. You want to scare women away from having sex in high school and being responsible adults and waiting till they're in college? Ha! Women in high school are obsessed with how their bodies look. Show them a video of a pregnant chick giving birth, to 2 or 3 kids. And have the guys in there with them too when they're watching it, because I guarantee you the guys are going to be going, oh, that's gross, what is that? And then the women are going to be going, You're being told how condoms are effective at preventing pregnancy. Bullshit. They work, but they have their malfunctions, if you catch my drift. If it's expired, if your partner's allergic to latex, or if it was manufactured poorly, I tell you what. But yes, blame and shame and conflict. When crying doesn't work in the argument with you and your other half, so try that method as well. Blaming your friends for the shit you do, or blaming other men for the way she sees you in the argument right now. Or blaming you for something you did 4 months ago that you completely forgot about. She'll bring that up. That is a classic female move. They will bring up something that they were pissed about or didn't tell you on the spot, and then 4 or 5 months later, they choose to bring it up. Just so they can have one more thing to be pissed off at you about. I'm here to tell you right now, ladies, that's not healthy. You know, you're better off directly addressing that issue so it doesn't just build up and build up and build up and build up and build up. And then really, in all honesty, there is no need to fight in a relationship. After all, like I said, relationships are 50-50. Why should she suck your dick if you're not going to suck her pussy? See what I'm saying?
Buddies talk about this. A lot of my soldiers have told me about this problem, the blame and shame thing. And this is nagging, you know, especially when they start making comparisons to their father, ex-husbands, or boyfriends. Or they play the, you know.
Yep, the comparisons to their fathers, ex-boyfriends, ex-husbands, brothers, cousins, etc. Oh, you're just like my father.
Real men do this. First of all, any woman who says real men do such and such is out of her fucking mind and doesn't know anything about being a man. Alright, so.
No, you're right about that. Any woman who says, well, real men do this, this, and this. But your definition of a real man versus her definition of a real man is completely different. No, and just like that, women have no idea what it's like to be a man, and men have no idea what it's like to be a woman. So that argument is kind of, both sides need to shut the fuck up on that. You know, you can't compare yourselves to the opposite sex because we live different lives.
So, whenever they say that shit, just turn off mentally because they have lost the argument and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Okay, now if they start making comparisons to ex-husbands and boyfriends, that's a screaming hint that they have checked out of the relationship and the clock on your pending divorce is started. So, prepare your mind for said eventuality. Alright, now, this is my take on nagging and bitching. And you ladies out there who are married or in a relationship, you know, if you have a problem and something's going on and it fails the yes or no test, meaning all of the relevant questions are yes, you're a nagger. And you should probably fucking stop it, unless you want to get divorced. Just saying. Alright, we've been going on here for over fucking 20 minutes with one interruption. You know, I'm going to probably pick up some more later episodes and talk about, you know, things going on currently in the world. But please, if you have questions or subjects you want me to address, send me an email at redonkulous12@gmail.com.
Alright, to wrap up this video response with a couple of things. One, you have to realize, YouTube, that even though women and men are different, the struggles they face are oddly enough very similar. Some sort of pecking order amongst their own gender, some sort of competition-esque battle of the sexes bullshit. And when you start focusing on what makes men and women similar versus what makes them different, all of a sudden your gender communication starts looking much easier. People are going, I don't get it. What do you mean? You and your wife have the best relationship. How do you guys do that? Now, here's the thing of it. They might say, well, let's start focusing on the similarities that women and men have to face in society, plus the similarities you share with your other half. And I guarantee you, that you'll be like, hey, all of a sudden, I understand things a lot better. Hmm. And here's the thing of it, YouTube. Once you realize the similarities are not so different after all, well, think about it. If a woman is sexually aroused, her clit gets hard. If a man is sexually aroused, his dick gets hard. Not much difference. Not trying to be sexually graphic here, but that's what I'm getting at, though, man. You start focusing on the differences. You start focusing on the differences, and you're never going to be happy in your relationship. It's always going to be these bullshit comparisons that are completely unfucking fair. You start bringing up points and comparisons, you might hear the other half say, well, that's too far, or that's not fair, because you know women in society, blah, 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 or you know men in society, blah, blah, blah. So sometimes being too honest is never a good thing. But don't flat out lie to them either. Now let's say you and your girlfriend are going to the mall and you're shopping for clothes, for her of course, and she says, honey, do these jeans make my ass look fat? And you think her ass looks good no matter what she's wearing. So of course you say no. It's the same reason why she'll ask you to open that pickle jar, you know? You're help validating her beauty, and she's validating your strength as a man. Now, even though she's perfectly capable of opening that jar herself, she still asks you to do it because it makes you feel masculine. You know. And if you can last 55 plus years in your marriage, you got this by that point, you know what I'm saying? You see these couples who are getting married and then they're divorced within a year. It's like, yikes, dude. It's because people are in a rush to get laid and get married, and it creates so much trouble in our society. But then again, the idea of sex and marriage has been so institutionalized in our society that if men aren't getting laid, they're seen as weak or as huge pussies. Like, haha, you can't get, you know what I'm saying? And if women haven't found a man to marry before they're 30, oh jeez. You'll be a lonely cat lady the rest of your life. Come here, Mr. Whiskers. And quite frankly, I'm sick of that crap. You're not less of a person because you can't find a dating partner or someone to marry. So don't let society fuck you up like that, dude. It's perfectly natural to feel depressed when you're lonely, but society's harsh expectations for the dating scene make it worse. You know, it's when you stop giving a fuck that you're single and you're just doing your thing and you don't let society's pressure bother you. You're a lot happier being single. But when you're depressed because you're single and then you let society's bullshit on top of it, you feel like shit for it, don't you? Exactly my fucking point, you two. I've seen the way women respond to me in general, so honestly, I'm not worried about dating right now. If I find a girl, cool. If not, who gives a shit? Making that money's more important, fellas. What good is having a girlfriend if you can't spoil her rotten? But if you spoiling her rotten doesn't make her happy, then she needs to be happy with herself and her surroundings first. Wait, this is a long ass night video. That's why the fans dig the content. If you like the rants, the relationship advice, hit the like button, subscribe for more. And here's the best fucking part of it. Wrap this video up here. People go, why should we take Cobra's dating advice? He hasn't had a girlfriend in 3 years. And my argument to that has always been the same. When you're in a relationship, you're focused on maintaining that relationship. You're not focused on finding someone. And when you're on the focus to find someone, you tend to see what other people are going through on the dating scene, and it gives you a bigger perspective on how shit goes down. Pretty much what it boils down to it is I hear women and men bitch and complain about the same shit. People using them for sex and money, people being pieces of shit assholes, people being creepy or weird, people taking advantage of their gender's privilege. The thing of it is, YouTube, both women and men have privilege. Both women and men can be victims. But when you bitch when it happens to your side, but not when the other side has the same shit, it just makes you look hypocritical and vindictive as fuck. And not only is it, you know, you gotta learn to do little things for each other. You learn to do little things for your other half just to make them happy, smile, laugh, whatever. Patience is a virtue. Finding the right one takes patience, and working on your relationship takes even more patience. Funny how that works. I guess we're all patients in the nut house known as life. uh, anyways, YouTube. I do appreciate y'all watching this extremely long night video. And, yep. I think the biggest question people might ask is, dude, if you haven't had a girlfriend in 3 years, why the fuck do you care? Trolls talk all this shit too, like, oh, you're never getting laid. And that's just them talking shite, because when I get a hot girlfriend of my own, they're gonna be super jealous, and we're like, how'd you get that? How'd you find her, man? Damn. Patience and biding my time, that's how. And being a decent guy helps, I'm not gonna lie. Which, you know, the gothic exterior does scare them away at first, but they get to know me and they're like, eh. Really, it depends on who you talk to. There are some women who are just repulsed by me, and there are some women who are like, hey, what's up? You want dating to go easier? Focus on the people who find you attractive. Don't focus on the assholes who reject you. And don't be afraid to have high standards. It's your body, it's your time and soul and energy and money being wasted away on a relationship. So that being said, don't let anyone tell you that you shouldn't have high standards. And the only time you should lower them is if you're having a hard time finding companionship and you really want some. But waiting patiently for something that's worth waiting for versus getting a quick fix. You got two choices when it comes to the relationship game, YouTube. Relationships are like a cigarette. And settling for less is like taking 2 drags off of it and still bitching because you have a nicotine craving. But finding the one that's perfect for you to spend the rest of your life with, that's like smoking the whole cigarette and going, yeah, that did it. That satisfied the nicotine craving. And comparing love to cigarettes is a bit unfair considering... Actually, no, it's pretty accurate if you think about it. anyways, YouTube, I do thank y'all for watching this here night video. And I'll catch you cool cobras later.